Look, we have to find these fanboys. Their toxicity is eroding what's left of the game industry. You need to go and find them now. Why, I have a little video to talk about. Hello and welcome back. Now, as we know, the Nintendo Switch 2 is came out, and now we have some informations about it and that. So, from what I understand, I haven't bought one, and I'm probably not getting one anytime soon. But from what I understand, the rumors about the game system not working out of the box without the internet proven false. The only thing from what I understand that is a problem out of the box with no internet is backwards compatibility. Apparently, the system does not have backwards compatibility built into it. It needs an update. Now, people on Desert Plays are hoping that future cartridges will have the update on them, and that, I would say, is probably likely the case. So, the Switch 2 looks like it's not going down the Microsoft path yet. Now, the price point still is a big issue. Mario Kart World did indeed come out for the $80 that it was going to, and from what I understand, the launch went well. It doesn't mean that Nintendo's won yet. Because after all, the Wii U before it and the 3DS before it all sold out and got scalped the hell. And from what I can see, Switch 2s are still quite available on shelves, at least in my area, neck of the woods. So they don't seem to be having a sellout problem from what I can see. So I don't know if they'll go full force yet. It's still too early to call. But yeah, like I said, I'm not getting a Switch 2 at the moment, and I'm certainly not getting $80 games anytime soon. I hardly, I feel like there's barely a 1% thing that's worth $70, let alone fucking $80. Like, you need to make better products if you want to raise the price, is what I have to say on that subject. Now, we're not making those better products the majority of the time. Now, Nintendo, most of the time, they do have good products. So, it's just not a game I'm interested in, but we'll see what the future holds. Microsoft, of course, as many of us feel, quickly hopped on the bandwagon and already has the first title, Outer Worlds 2, for $80. Now, on one hand, this is getting a PS5 version. We don't know if it will be a functional physical version, though. The Indiana Jones PS5 version was a stinker. It needed an internet connection and data, which made it e-waste. Microsoft. All full of lies. Aren't you, Phil Spencer? Oh, physical games are important. Except when they're not. So, Microsoft's already hopped on that bandwagon. We haven't seen Sony really, actually comment on any real stuff related to price increases and stuff yet. So as it stands right now, Sony is still the normal price with the PS5s that they have currently, with no $80 games going. Now, as I said in one of my past videos, if I was Sony, I would be smart and just stick to trying to increase to $70. You already got Nintendo taking the brunt of being the $80 fiend, so you have the upper hand to slowly sneak in those $70. Now, of course, I don't support the $70 price tag either, but I'm just saying, if I was going to be a shrewd businessman, I would stay away from the $80 and just try to go with the $70 if I was going to try and increase the prices any, period. After all, because we didn't even get $70 normalized. I mean, the Western industry is mostly the people that were trying to do $70. Japan hardly touched it. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, it's still very disappointing to see that many of the games for the Switch 2 are these key cards. Not real physical products, but digital made physical in a well, how should I say, a digital code made physical. Sure, we can resell it, so that's good for game stocks. But for those of us who want to play in the future, well, that's iffy road for us. Now, a lot of people continue to defend Nintendo's decisions on a lot of these things. I still say Nintendo's decision to stick to cartridges and make these really expensive is their own damn fault, and they shouldn't be passing that on to the customer. And that's what's happening as far as I can tell. They're passing that price onto the customer, making their games go 70, 80. A lot of third parties not touching the shit. And I imagine over time, if this actually starts getting a little better in the physical department, they will probably continue to raise their prices with the Switch 2 tax. Because remember, when the Switch came out, we had the Switch tax. And I feel like as if we get away from these key cards, that we are going to see the Switch tax thing return again, I think, to make up for these expensive-ass cartridges. And again, that's on Nintendo. That is on Nintendo. Just like how the Vita memory card thing, that was on Sony. That was Sony's decision, and they're the ones that fucked that up, and that's what they got for doing that. They got a lot of people complain. A lot of people didn't buy it. A lot of people didn't fucking go for it. It's on them for that shit. You should be making this stuff affordable. If the guy who spends the majority of his fucking money on video games has a problem with it, what do you think normies are going to be like? Normies always complaining about their grocery prices, so you think they're going to like fucking $80 games? I don't even know how this is getting this far, to be honest. I feel like a sane society, this would have already fucking hit a wall. But time is still needed to see if Nintendo is successful in this move. Will this stick? I don't think in Microsoft's court. I think Microsoft is definitely not relying on the $80 price tag. I think it's more for them relying on that Game Pass. Now, you might be like, well, what's that have to do with the Game Pass? Well, let me put it this way. Let's say you have an Xbox. You see they're raising the prices to $80. Now, that rental fee for the Game Pass every month sounds a vastly better deal than buying the game full price momentarily until years and years and years go by of you paying for the pass, and then it's kind of like, huh. Now, if you play a lot of games, you'll get your money's worth in a rental way. Don't get me wrong on that. But I feel like it's a move to get more people to look at the Game Pass. Now, that might not be the case, but that's what it seems like to me. Microsoft keeps wanting to bank on the Game Pass, even though after COVID, sales and shit declined and then started becoming more of an issue. I mean, we see them shut down a successful studio because its game didn't sell well, but it did well on the Game Pass, but apparently not well enough to keep the studio open. So obviously that wings a lot of problems. So I don't think the $80 thing is going to be too serious for physical people with Microsoft type stuff. I feel like they'll still have the big discounts. You know, they'll go down price. Now whether the Outer World 2 thing is going to actually be a decent physical release, I don't know, but I'm sure its price will plummet like many other things do. So I don't think we have much more in that. Sony, again, hasn't really commented on whether it's going to go forward or anything with anything. So Nintendo continues to be the big concern here. Now, I know there's the whole meme, Nintendo prices never go down. That's obviously not true if you keep track of deals and that. Deals happen. Different companies do deals. There's, of course, Black Friday deal. Ooh, excuse me. But they're all random deals here and there. I mean, I remember getting several Walmart deals. You know, I got Hey Pikmin for like $10. I got the remake of Metroid 2 for like $10 at Walmart. I got, like, back in the Nintendo Wii game, Wii era, I got the fucking Fire Emblem game for $10 new at Walmart. Like, deals do happen. You just gotta keep an eye and look for them and stuff and that. And deals will likely happen, of course, with this stuff. But yeah, the increased price on Nintendo stuff isn't something I'm looking forward to. Luckily, there's nothing I really care about at the moment that's Switch 2 exclusive at the moment. But obviously, things will come, and hopefully, when that does happen, they will at least be a proper physical release. Hopefully, that would be what I hope. Obviously, that's my big concern. Will this keycard thing continue through the lifespan of the Switch 2? Because I can tell you, if it does, then similar to like that Xbox One rotting on my shelf, it's going to be lucky it gets in here if I can find it for a cheap price. Because I'm certainly not supporting key cards in any capacity other than flipping them at GameStop if I see it for $5 at Walmart and it sells for some money at GameStop. Other than that, I'm not touching the things. Fuck them. I don't give a shit. The fact that Limited One Games' forced fucking release of a Switch 2 game is a fucking keycard. And they can blame, oh, it's distribution, it's Sega's decision, all that. You are a company focused about physical ownership of your fucking games. Have some fucking balls and say, we're not going to support this or sell this because it goes against what the fucking company is. You fucking like Josh is clearly just so fucking greedy at Limited One Games. He just, any capacity to sell anything for money, he could care less about the morals or the fucking meaning of the company. He just doesn't give a shit at this point. It shows with this, because he could have put his fucking foot down and be like, no, we're not. You know what we should do? We should make an actual proper physical release that people would be interested in this. I hope Josh, look, I know I'm Josh too with that, but look, Josh, seriously, I hope all those Switch 2 versions of that game, of the Atlas game, rot on your fucking shelves. I really hope that. And Disguise 7 just got a complete Switch 2 version announced. That's also a key card. It just seems like a wasteland of e-waste and wastefulness. I just don't get it. I just don't get why this is even being a thing. Like, I'm still iffy about why they're even going among this path of key cards. Because again, like, you think codes in a box are going to be cheaper than making even the little nothing cartridge thing that signals the Switch 2 to make a download. Like, honestly, it feels more like they're really just trying to do what people have always said, that they're trying to push more digital shit. Less ownership and stuff. And Nintendo was the last people I actually expected that out of our industry. It's real sad to see Nintendo do this. Now, a lot of theories have came out about talking about why Nintendo has done a lot of this at this point. Some people going to greed, some people saying lost, like, gaming, like, spirit and stuff. And then, you know, I think there was a really good video talking about the business side. I mean, think about it. A lot of the big higher-ups in Nintendo that have been in charge of Nintendo for ages are gone. They've either died, retired, most of them are just dead at this point. A lot of the new higher-ups are business people. They're there to make money. They're not there to be, like, mystical CEO gamer people. A lot of, like, I didn't agree with every single thing. A lot I liked overall, mostly, though. Now, Wedgie, well, I don't hate Wedgie, but I certainly had a lot more to disagree with Wedgie on certain things. But even Wedgie was a likable fucking person. And at least tried to fucking seem like a lovable fucking, high overlord CEO person. Currently, like, none of these new people really doing even a quarter of what like Reggie and Nawada and shit would do. And I think there's some good thought there that really Nintendo is definitely doing a PS3. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, anyone familiar with when the PS3 came out, Sony was high and mighty off the PS2 era, where they literally just curb stomped the fuck out of everything. Original Xbox, fucking GameCube, like they just stomped fucking everything. And they were just in this high and mighty mentality and fucking released the PS3 thinking everything was going to be in a court, that they had nothing to feel, and that they were literally going to waste devs' time developing games for the high-end fucking system so they wouldn't be able to port to other shit. And that backfired very heavily. And that's why I feel like what's happening here with the Switch 2. We're entering that high and mighty phase. Now look, I don't hate my Switch. Obviously, I play my PS4 way more than my Switch when it comes to the more modern consoles. And that's because usually, if it's on both, in most cases, it's going to be better on the PlayStation end because better, hardware. That's not to say the Switch version can't be good. And in some cases, there are some scenarios where the Switch version is better. But overall, it has, it struggles to deal with like really high-end games. So, but the Switch 2, the Switch, like, how to put it? Think about like the Game Boy. The Game Gear and the Atari Lynx had color, bigger screens and shit, and the Game Boy was just this calculator green fucking color shit. And people were just like, ha, ha, ha. Nintendo has proved over and over again, you don't need the super high graphics and shit to be super successful. You need games. You need the games. And Nintendo has the games. They do. They do have the games. And that's always what they've had to always rely on for the majority of their success in that. But I feel like at some point, like, the Nintendo Switch's huge success has gone to these business people's minds. The Switch 2 isn't doing anything original or new or magical. They're just riding out with better hardware with a few basic features like chat and camcorder video footage. I originally was just going to say camera, but my brain went camcorder. It's a brain pop. Don't mind me. Anyway, but yeah, like, I do think there's some logic though. I think a lot of this has to do with business. Business. Stockholders, investors, things like that. They want more money. And how do you get more money? Raise the prices. So, we'll see how Nintendo keeps going forward. But yeah, don't expect me to get a Switch 2 anytime soon. I can probably see me getting one down the road at some point in maybe 2 years. I don't really see it happening even in a year. Like, I never get a console in its first year. Always good to it. Never get a console when it first comes out. You ever see that Bruno Mars song? The one that he hypocritically didn't follow his own self. Yeah, let the bugs in there be beta tested by other people is what I always say. But yeah, I always think waiting a year is a good thing for people who want to have a good physical console that, you let the bugs and stuff get worked down there. But yeah, even after a year, I don't really think I'm going to get one, probably even in 2 years, honestly. Like, I don't know. Maybe Nintendo will announce something that'll really get me excited about, maybe. Maybe like Super Mario RPG 2. I would really be excited. I've always wanted to see a Mario RPG 2. I'm not really into the brother ones. I like the idea. I get it. But, yeah, not my cup of tea. But anyway. Time will tell, but it's still very concerning to me. It's still very, 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 very concerning at the direction we're going here. And we keep continuing to have AAA games that are failing horrifically on the market. I don't know what the game industry is continuing to think at this point in time. Because, like, they're wasting shitloads of money. They got games and concepts and stuff that are being fucking rejected, failed, or just shut down. I mean, we've seen all these live services games getting shut down within months of going live and shit. And then, like Concord, for example, that barely lived a fucking week. Like, it's ridiculous how much money and shit is being born on shit like this, just for, like, a weird offshoot gambling chance and hoping hitting the $1 million fucking slot machine. It's just, like, them just shooting shit out, hoping something gets that magical winning slot pool. Like, it's just so stupid to me when they could be making more better things. And as I've said before in the past, I made a video talking about we need more AA games and less AAA games, and certainly not fucking quadruple A games. Because, like, brand recognition is just so awful with Microsoft and Sony. Sony has eroded their brand recognition so bad, focusing on the AAA market in The Last of Us. We make the bajillionth time. Like, look, we don't need another remake of The Last of Us. There are literally several versions of the damn thing already. And let alone the remaking the second game that came out last generation. Just like how they remade. Well, I guess they remastered, but, you know, they also then remade the... You get what I'm talking about. Point is, you know, Sony had all kinds of crazy, wacky little games. Not all of them were necessarily owned by Sony, but a lot of them were associated with Sony. But Sony did have its own wacky little games too. And then they closed the Japan studio down and fucking flushed them all down the fucking toilet. And now, what does people associate with Sony? The Last of Us, God of War, yeah, I don't know anything. Like, in the older days, I could associate a lot of things, but there's just, they don't have anything anymore. And that's what Nintendo has the advantage of here. They have shitloads of their franchises they still make lots of stuff on. And yeah, those are going to be the things that draw people to likely get Switch 2s and that. You know, it might not, if it's not Mario Kart for you, it'll certainly probably be the Zelda that'll come out or something else. So that maybe the next new Kirby game or something, you know? We'll see, but I'm sure they'll have some stuff. But the brand recognition in the industry is being destroyed with Sony and Microsoft because of their focus on these really expensive fucking games that aren't leading to anything. Like, it's just, why are you doing this? Nobody associates almost anything to fucking Sony anymore. Like, it's just so mind-boggling that they're losing their identity so much. Like, the only thing Sony has really going for it at this point is to be a physical ownership machine. That's the selling point of the PS5. A continuation of, you could own your games if the company makes a functional, workative disc for it, at least. That's all they really got going for them at this point. The PS5 still, to me, feels like a massive failure out of anything exclusive for the fucking thing. Like, this, just hardly anything just, like, screams, oh, PS5 seller to me. Now, obviously, I know that's subjective. I'm not stupid. I know that's subjective, you know. I'm sure God of War people were, like, super excited for new God of War games on the PS5. Though, to be fair, like, the other one was on PS4, though. But you get what I mean. Like, I get it is slightly subjective. But I think, overall, most people do have that sentiment that the PS5 just doesn't have anything that stands out. The PS4 at least had half of its life before Sony lost its mind and moved to California, or wherever the fuck they moved to in America. I think it was California. I think it was. Maybe? It's somewhere in that. There were HQ in that. But you know, before they did all the mass fucking Japanese censorship and shit. So at least the PS5 had some stuff associated to it. I mean, it even had a VR version of that wacky the Batman game. They were on the PSP, but yeah, it had like a VR spin-off that was on the PS5. But yeah, it's like that's where the last of what Sony had when it died was on the PS4. And even that still had, you know, more minute stuff. But they had a lot of third-party shit that helped prop it up. But now it's like, it feels like so much more stuff is also on the Nintendo side of things. You know, a lot of Japanese developers are focusing on Switch versions as well. You're not seeing so little of it. Like, midway into the PS4 life, a lot of companies were doing both Switch and PS4 if possible. And I'm sure that's going to continue on going into the Switch too. I don't think that's going to slow down by any means necessary. So PS5 is going forward, PlayStation in general is going to need to find reasons to get people to buy its system. Now, like we said, you know, they could continue with the whole, oh, well, you get to own your games on our system. And, you know, I could be at least somewhat happy, but honestly, like, what got me to get PS5 was just the removable disc thing being a fucking e-waste if you had a disk drive problem with the thing. It's like, well, I guess I gotta get it, because when the OG model sells out, it's probably gonna go in price if I don't, so I guess now I'm getting one. No game convinced me to be a PS5. Even now, I still don't see anything that directly would have made me buy a PS5 yet. And we're getting to, I don't know, the half point, the end life, that I keep hearing different people make different claims about the PS5's lifespan at this point. I believe Sony themselves said somewhere like the near end of the PS5 life, which is very concerning. I don't think I've had a console not convince me that there was a game to buy on it for a very long time. Even the N64, like, as much of a desert RPG dry land that was, I mean, let's face it, you know, almost everyone got that for fucking Smash Bros. If you didn't get it for other stuff, you definitely got it for fucking Smash Bros. I know that's the thing I played the most on my N64, that's for sure. But yeah. Now Microsoft, well, to me, Microsoft's pretty much dead. I mean, Microsoft doesn't have a whole lot going for that these days. They've executed numerous projects that were interesting, like a Phantom Dust remake, that one fucking, I don't even remember what it was called. It was being done by, I think, the Devil May Cry guy, wasn't it? I can't remember. Or was it Platinum? No, it was Platinum. It was Platinum. It was with the Platinum people. Like, it's like they butchered a bunch of projects, they bought a bunch of studios, fired a bunch of people. Who knows what the fuck Microsoft's even fucking doing anymore than fucking wanting to just become the digital blockbuster, basically. I don't know. The appeal to me just feels like a fading death sentence to it. But, yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts on some of the stuff going on, things going on with the Switch that, I mean, it is good now the Switch 2 does walk outside its box, that it's games that are physical from Nintendo and the, like, 3 third-party people that actually made physical cartridges that function, are working. The only thing is backwards compatibility doesn't walk out of the box, which for me isn't that big a deal. I have a Switch that I don't usually make use of modem backwards compatibility, because honestly that's a whole different subject. Backwards compatibility to me after the 360 became shit. Like the 360 and PS3 era was the only, like, the last of good backwards compatibility. After it entered this whole, oh, we need digital update. Okay, wait. To be slightly fair, the 360 actually technically does need a download, but there were a few disc versions you could have got for got that fun. Oh, excuse me. So, be fair. But anyway, the point is, we're in an age with PS5, Xbox One, Series, Switch 2. They need these downloads and patches to make their backwards compatibility shit with older stuff work. And that is obviously concerning in a future design, because that means down the road, if you get like a PS5 or something that doesn't have those updates and stuff on them, then yeah, you're screwed. So yeah, I'm not really into the modern backwards compatibility because it doesn't really have future proofing associated with it. Now, you know, hacking and modding and stuff might make that easier on me. I know there's that for the 360 for sure, so maybe down the road that kind of stuff will be a bigger thing for those, but yeah, it's just disappointing in that. Anyway, I'm done. I'm stressed out, and I need to go and get some stuff done because this Sunday, this is my only day off, because if you're keeping up with the live streams, I've been doing overtime, no Friday or Saturday streams or days off. It's been very annoying. Very, very, very annoying. But you see, I'm going to have to get that person over there because that Nintendo fan's been watching me for way too long. I will see you next time, my delightful viewers. Well.